Welcome to the Hub, where the travel industry is together under one roof. This is the morning show, and it's our first one. So break a leg, right? I'm Pat Miller, your host of the morning show and a partner here on the Hub. And our morning show is going to be a little different than some other boring Zoom meetings that you've been in. At least we're going to try not to be boring. We've got guests. We've got some news to kick around, and we've got the microphone ready for you. So what we want you to do is be ready to jump in and have some fun with us, because those one-way webinar meetings, they got to go. So while we talk with Lori and while Tom talks about his thing and we talk about today's breaking news story, or at least the latest piece of news, if you've got a question or a comment, drop into the chat and let us know, and then we'll bring you into the conversation, because that's when it gets fun, is when we're all collaborating under one roof and be a part of the Hub experience together. But first, let's welcome in our co-hosts. First and foremost, the man on a mission, my partner in the Hub, Tom Brousseau. How are you, my friend? How's today?
Today is really good. Today is awesome. Today is the very first live Hub event since we are official last Monday. So thanks to all of you for being here. It's very exciting as we continue to progress with the Hub. And really can't wait for this conversation to get started. The morning show is one of our signature programs, and we hope that we can show you how this is really very much different than those boring PowerPoint presentations that you hear, and that hopefully you get some value out of it. So I just want to say welcome. We have a lot of ground to cover. I want to definitely send a shout out to some of Lori's friends from her Facebook Riviera Maya group who have joined us. This is your first time being exposed to the Hub, so we very much appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to quickly come and join us. And we hope to share some information about what the Hub is all about and why you want to be a part of it.
So we'll talk all about that, of course, but you've been getting a ton of help behind the scenes, and one of our favorite helpers is on the call. Any shout outs you want to give today, Tom?
Oh, we're talking about Danielle?
Of course.
Oh yeah, Danielle Whitmore. For those of you that don't know Danielle, Danielle has joined the Hub team, and she has a really long and decorated track record in the travel industry. I think her last position was the Director of Supplier Relations for the Apple Leisure Group. Is that correct, Danielle? You're muted.
Yes, I managed our director. I was the director of relationships and focused on working collaboratively with all the destinations. So I did a lot of joint marketing campaigns with all of the destinations in Mexico, the Caribbean, Central America. So I have a lot of experience in destination marketings and really a destination expert in these regions.
And so what Danielle is bringing to the party for the Hub is that we are embarking upon a mission to build what we're calling destination communities. And those destination communities are going to be fully functional destination resources for Hub members, and really a variety of topics, content, discussion, easy ways to contact suppliers, and much more will be part of the destination communities. And Danielle she's leading the charge on that for us.
Yeah, and I see there are some of our destination friends are here on this call with us. So hopefully we'll get most of them on board. You guys may already know and interact with some of them already, but this will just be a new place and a new community to expand on your relationships and interactions with them as well.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely. And I think one of the keys that that we're trying to go for in the Hub as we go, and we'll talk about this, is efficiency, right? There is a million webinars. There's a ton of stuff going on out there. There is lots and lots and lots of noise, and it can be exhausting. And one of the things we're going for on the Hub is everything under one roof. So in those destination communities, imagine a scenario 6 months from now or a year from now where there's 100 destination communities all in one place on the Hub, and easily accessible, instantly accessible to Hub members, instantly accessible to suppliers who want to engage with Hub members and share their content, their information, their promotions. The efficiency level for all of us will go up dramatically versus all of the things that are constantly swirling around in the marketplace right now. I mean, a good example today, you know, I own and operate a functioning travel agency. I have for 10 years. And before noon today, I got 7 emails from Travel Weekly. And I got 3 from 2 other companies. I got 4 from, and I mean, you know, how do we all do business through all of that noise and chaos? So one of the things we're shooting for on the hub is, you know, how do we bring it all together? How do we bring all the suppliers together? How do we bring the destinations together, tourism boards, attractions, airlines, all together under one roof so we can much more efficiently and effectively do business together versus having our businesses scattered all over 10 different platforms that we all try to consolidate into one meaningful strategy at the start and the end of every day. So that's kind of a high level. There's much more to share as we go, and I'm sure, you know, Pat will share some of that. And then also on this Thursday, we have a much more detailed travel think tank call scheduled, which is about how to hub, and really talks a lot more about in depth about the benefits of the hub and how to do business on the hub. So more to come on that piece.
So we're planning to do 2 weekly shows at the start. Travel Think Tank that Tom was talking about, that's a 1-hour in-depth, some more interviews. We're going to interview a supplier. We're going to interview an agent. We're going to have some roundtable discussion so we can all share information back and forth. That's the big kahuna. That's like our weekly in-depth talk show. This show is just about having some fun, see what's going on, kick around a topic or two, interview an agent or a supplier that might be on location, just a way to kind of to start the day and get things going. So to get your mind thinking, here's the issue that we're going to talk about in just a little bit. We're going to talk about fact-checking a new survey that was just released. Travel advisors put it out. It's about COVID-19. The COVID-19 Sentiment Barometer. Do you see this? It shares how inquiries have shifted and customer intentions are trending for 2021. So we're going to bring up some of the points from that survey in a second, and we'll want your feedback. So think about that. But first, I think we should go traveling and welcome in one of our HUBSTARs. Now, the HUBSTARs are our VIP agents, and they're scattered all around the world. Lori Gold of TWIL Travel, she is one of our HUBSTARs, and she's calling in from Playa del Carmen. Buenos dias, Lori. How are you today?
Great. Everything's good. It's a beautiful sunny day.
So it looks beautiful, the view. You were showing us before the call, but I think you have to do the obligatory turn the camera around so we can all drool on that oceanfront view that you're, oh, yes. Yeah. That looks great. So how are things in Playa del Carmen? How's the visitor count? What's the latest?
So things are definitely getting busier every day. I think it was last Saturday, not this past one before. There were 100 flights in and out. So, you know, people are definitely coming. I would say it's mainly Americans and Mexicans. There are some flights from Canada, but they're more like once or twice a week, where we used to have from Toronto, for example, maybe 5 or 6 direct flights a day. Those are now once a week. So less lift from Canada, less people from Canada, but still tons of planes coming in here.
So what are you seeing with resorts? What's going well and where can they improve? What do you think?
Well, you know, I've been here the whole time. I haven't left since January, so I don't know what things are like in the US or Canada. But from what I understand from my colleagues who are American is that they feel better here. They feel like the resorts are doing more than maybe their stores or malls or things like that back at home. Because they have to follow pretty strict rules. Even locally in grocery stores here, they are pretty strict with, you know, only 1 person per family and temperature, and they sanitize your cart and things like that. So the resorts are really, you know, going above and beyond. They all have their programs, you know, what they're doing, and they're published everywhere. There's signs all around resorts and different measures that they're taking. So I would say that they are doing a great job of making people feel comfortable. I think that in terms of where they can improve, it's hard because you have some people, for example, who only want to go away if everyone's wearing a mask and they feel fully safe and things like that. And then you have other people who won't go away if they have to wear a mask because they don't want that experience on their vacation. So I think that majority of the resorts are doing their best to find a middle ground where they're keeping everyone safe and sound with the appropriate measures, but still letting people enjoy vacation.
So you have an interesting goal for 2020. Your goal is to see all the resorts at Riviera Maya. How did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a unique opportunity by living in the destination. You know, I don't have to get on a plane. I can just get in my car and visit anywhere that I want to go. So I thought that it would be beneficial, and I can call myself more of an expert if I actually can experience every single property and be able to compare them.
So I'm just curious, of the resorts you've seen, well, how many have you seen? How far along are you, if you
No,
had to
I
guess?
haven't counted. I started making a list, and I kept adding to it and adding to it.
Yeah.
It's honestly never ending. So it's a little bit of a hefty goal.
So if you think about all the places you have seen, is there a spot or one feature of one resort that leaps to mind that makes you go, you know, at this place, they're doing the thing and it's so unique. I really think it's cool. Does anything come to mind?
Yeah, one resort that I just stayed at last weekend called Maya. It's new-ish. It opened December. They were only open for 3 months before they closed again. Now they're open again. And it is an all-inclusive resort. It's by the Sandos brand, although you would never ever know it because it's a completely different property. But it is unique because they don't have your typical like water aerobics and the entertainment staff at the pool trying to get people to play beach volleyball. It's all about, you know, connecting with yourself. And they have, you know, a shaman on property, and it's about sound healing and yoga and meditation. And what I think is unique is that 80% of their food is plant-based, and I'm plant-based, and I find it sometimes difficult to go to some of the properties. I feel like I have to sacrifice quality because most of their meals are, you know, not plant-based, so they end up just making like a pasta or whatever. But this resort specifically, their meals, most of them come plant-based, and then you can substitute. So for example, it'd be like a plant-based hamburger, or you can substitute for a beef hamburger or a chicken sandwich or whatever. So I think that that's really unique, and you can't find that at any other resort that I've been to. I mean, the other resorts do have, you know, maybe a vegetarian menu or some options, but to have majority of the menu be available to me is pretty awesome.
Well, it's a neat opportunity to have you live from Riviera Maya. So if you have a question for Lori, hop into the chat and then we can unmute your mic and you can hop in and say hello and ask her a question that might be on your mind, because this is a great opportunity to exchange information and get those little details. They're going to help us get our clients' minds excited about booking that trip and getting ready to travel. So if you were getting ready to talk with a client about Riviera Maya in Cancun, what advice would you give the agent as they're talking to the potential client?
Well, I think that the reason that so many agents are traveling down here right now is because you really have to experience it to be able to share it with clients. And I think that agents also really need to be on top of what's going on at each resort. So for example, 2 of the resorts that I've stayed at out of, let's say, 8, their gyms were closed. And that, you know, could be a really big deal to people if they didn't know that, if they were expecting that, if, you know, most gyms are open all the time and no problem, or 24 hours a day, or even, you know, most of the day. So if working out to them is, you know, for whatever reason, a really big part of their vacation and the gyms were closed, they would be really disappointed. So I think, you know, in my Facebook group, I am putting a report for each and really highlighting the COVID differences and what's changed, what's new, and what's not open really, because, you know, people who, especially who are booking now and are traveling in the near future, things are going to be a little bit different than if they were traveling, you know, a year ago. If they're paying anywhere near full price, not, they still want to have an experience. So I think that what's open, what's not, and exactly what the experience is like, and being able to share that is super important. You know, I just shared my experience from a resort that I went to this past weekend. They were the strictest with masks out of any resort. I mean, you had to wear it anytime you were indoors. And someone actually said to me, like, I'm glad you published that. I might not want to go now. And that's totally, you know, her prerogative, and that's fair. You know, because everyone has their own comfort level with or without. And for her, she really doesn't want to have to worry about that when on vacation. So I think that knowing, and these things change all the time, of course. I mean, you know, a resort that I was at a month ago has something different now than a month ago. So you really have to keep on top of the resort you're selling. Find out, you know, every week, what are the latest changes, what's open, what's closed, because they are constantly changing, and it can affect the client's experience.
Okay. Molly's going to step up and ask a question. We appreciate it, Molly. If you can unmute and ask your question about Playa del Carmen for Lori.
Yeah, I just wanted to know about town itself, just walking around town, shopping, things like that. Are people, out and about? And I noticed that one of the other agents had talked about the foot, the shoe wiping before you go into shops. Is that in Playa del Carmen also?
So I actually don't live directly in Playa anymore. I live in Puerto Aventuras, which is in between Playa and Tulum. So I don't go too often. I haven't been in a little bit. I'm actually going tomorrow and Thursday probably. But from what I understand, for the most part, it is open, and some stores are open and some are closed. The thing is that Fifth Avenue is also being redone. The main walking street is being redone. So it's being ripped up and retiled. And so there are certain sections of it that are not open or accessed because of that. But a lot of it is still open, and you'll find a lot of stores that are open and a lot that are still closed. So it's definitely open and people can go no problem. When I did go a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, to the end of Fifth Avenue, sort of where the ferry terminal is, there's there, and to get into that shopping area, they do take your temperature. You do have to step in the mats, and then some stores, for every store, also had the mats, and also some of them took your temperature. So it really depends on the store, but for the most part, they are being quite strict about that. And you have to wear masks in the outdoor area of the shopping center while walking, or you're supposed to at least.
So, Molly, thank you for stepping up and asking the question. I appreciate it. Lori, as much as we hate to do this, if you could do us a favor and pop your camera off. Do you know how to do that in your Zoom settings? Go and turn off your camera. Your audio was breaking up a little bit, so I think we might be having a bandwidth issue. I mean, the magic of technology. We're talking to Mexico. I'm in Milwaukee. And if it stabilizes, we'll put your camera back on because you're beautiful. But this will help us hear you a lot better because it was breaking up quite a bit. So I want to ask about the staff and team members that you're seeing at all the resorts. How are they holding up with such a depressed number of travelers coming to the resorts?
I mean, everyone's just happy to have business again. There's still, the maximum resorts can operate right now is 30%. And some of them are 30%, some are not. I mean, I went to one resort that was at 6%, one was at 10, 15. So they're all over the board. But with 30% occupancy, the full staff is not coming back. So anyone who is back is very happy to be there, because without their job, and the government doesn't really do too much to help, unfortunately. So it's sort of up to the communities around them to help, and maybe their employers. So I think that everyone's just happy to be back at work and to be earning a living.
And I would imagine, as weird as this sounds to say, and I mean this with all the best intention, if someone decides to travel at only 30% capacity, the resort must feel like you have it to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, there's no better time to travel than now. I love going to the resorts and not having, to wait for anything, or worry about dinner reservations or things like that. Or worry about getting up early to get a seat by the pool. It's very easygoing. So it's a great time, I think.
That's great. All right. So any final thoughts for us from Mexico on this sunny day as we try and spread the word to all the agents that are on the call? I think I might have lost your audio. Lori, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, sure. So Danielle has one last question. Are tours and attractions open?
Some are and some aren't. So until now, like some of the Xcaret company parks are open. Beaches are, like, all beaches in Mexico are public, but the beaches have technically been closed. Now, if you stay at a resort, you are able to use the beach there. But we have heard that they're doing like a trial from the 20th to the 30th and opening the beaches to see how it goes and then go from there. And I've also heard that some of the archaeological ruins will be open at the end of the month. So we'll see. I mean, in this orange stage that we're in right now, those things are not allowed to be open, but hopefully they said that if everything goes well this week, then we might be moving to the yellow stage where those, the different sites and things can open. So I would say that there's still things to do for sure right now. I mean, also one big thing is right now, and I think it's really for this time of the year. I think it's June to early September. So it's time right now.
I think we're having some audio problems, Lori, so we're going to have to leave it there. But we appreciate you joining us today from Riviera Maya. Let's transition now and talk about the article that we noticed that we wanted to get your feedback on. Travel Advisors released the COVID-19 Sentiment Barometer. This is the second wave. There was one of these done in June. Wave 2, I read that the survey period was basically through the end of July. And what they found, and Tom, I'm going to get your opinion on this first, and Tom will start the conversation, and if you want to jump into the chat, we'll unmute you and have a dialogue here. So they found out that in recent weeks, 40% of all advisor inquiries were about U.S. destinations, more than double pre-pandemic levels. So of the inquiries coming in, 4 out of 10 were about U.S. spots. Does that sound right on to you, Tom?
I guess it could be. I mean, my business is very much focused on Mexico and the Caribbean, and that's the brand that that I have and the customer client base that I have. But I can see that there's been a lot of communication, a lot of expectations set that the U.S. destinations are going to be the first to recover, and that's where everyone is focusing their time and attention. And also add to the fact that some destinations like Europe, for example, are not accessible to Americans right now. So, some of the U.S. destinations, there's obviously lots of great ones, become more viable or maybe more attractive when someone at this time of the year or moving into the future might be looking at Europe or a cruise or something like that. Maybe those U.S. destinations tend to pop up a little bit more as a greater percentage of market share than maybe they might in the past.
And I wonder if some of the other agents on the call are agreeing with that's what they're seeing as well. While they consider it, and if you want to hop in, just hop into the chat, we'll bring you on. The other thing that I thought was interesting is, and Tom, let's get your input on this because I think Lori's having some connection problems. The travel window is one of the longest they've ever seen. The survey indicates the majority of travelers are booking 7 months in advance or more. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, I can agree to that. Yeah, definitely. Most of the work that we've been doing this past week and the past 2 weeks has been for travel in January, February, and even already inquiries for spring break of 2021. And, and that's what we expected. We expected there'd be pent up. A lot of people, who had planned to travel for spring break last year were not able to do it, obviously. And so this 2021 is the recovery year where we think they're going to come back, and we're urging people to get on it now because, if that demand is really there, both the pent up demand and everybody canceling and rebooking, that means that there's going to be some inventory challenges. There could be some price challenges. So I think people are getting that and knowing that, hey, if I'm going to get that trip that I've been really, really wanting for quite some time, I better get on it soon because otherwise I might miss out on the deal or might miss out on the inventory.
Now, Molly, if you could join us again, I'd be interested to hear more of your opinion on what you dropped into the chat. So you mentioned that some folks are looking at value. Is this someone that's not sure if they're going to travel, but it's an offer they can't refuse? Or are these just travelers that are scooping up good deals?
A little of both. People are calling in and they're saying, I want to go to Florida because I don't, want to go out of the country. And then when we sit down and look at pricing, they're going, oh, but I can get it all inclusive in Mexico for this compared to just air and hotel in Florida. And so they're looking at that value, and the ones that are wanting to travel in the next couple of months are going, well, I think I can wear a mask at the airport, and I think I can, I think I can do that to get a good beach and get all inclusive, and so I think the ones that I'm seeing, other than the ones that don't have passports, they're can't get one right now, but they're going for what the most they can get out of their money.
That's interesting. So what are you saying to them as they call in that helps to put them over the edge? Is it what Tom was just kind of talking about, like these deals might not be here when you come back, or how are you closing them to put the deposit down?
That and just letting them know that I've actually had clients traveling in the past few months. I've had colleagues that have traveled in the past few months to these areas and where they've been, and then also letting them know that that I'm leaving. I'm going the 19th of August to Mexico, and I'm going the 31st of August to the DR. You know, I'm willing to travel,
Yeah.
and I think giving them those little bit of reassurances are letting them go ahead and say, yeah, I want to go ahead and do that. And these are people that are traveling within the next couple of months. My people that are traveling, you know, next year, that's a whole nother story. But the ones that are traveling before the end of the year, that's what I'm kind of finding right now.
Well, getting this information from the front lines, from agents like you and agents that are on location, some of the suppliers we're going to talk to, this is really what we're hoping to get out of the hub. So, Molly, thank you for that. Dale, let's bring you on real quick. You were talking about your bookings. They're all over the place next year. Is there a trend, or is it literally scattershot throughout the year?
I have some people that were really excited for their trips this year, that are extremely optimistic for, you know, like, oh, January, it's time to go. So I have some bookings for January, February. A lot of my clients are May, for whatever reason, it's May and later. You know, I haven't figured out why May is the magic month, but hey, I'll take the optimism. You know, I have destination weddings I'm working on, you know, when they keep asking, well, what about COVID? What about COVID? And I'm like, I'd be a rich man if I had the answer, but, you know, I'm just walking them through the appropriate steps to protect their investments and whatever. So,
yeah.
The downfall I'm facing, and I kind of have to have this conversation, you know, with each client, is they're like, well, are you comfortable traveling? And if it wasn't for my career, I work as a firefighter paramedic. My wife is a cancer physician assistant at University of Chicago. We both have very strict travel criteria. So I can't travel to do all this and not have to like quarantine for 2 weeks when I get back. So I'm in a weird spot.
Yeah, and that's something that you could definitely say is a hard and fast rule for you, but you can also say, hey, I was networking with 20 other agents just yesterday, and they're traveling. I can tell you that I did a one-on-one interview with someone right from the beach, and they explained what it's like to walk through. So hopefully something like this can give you some more information and some more confidence when it comes to booking people. Laura's got an interesting point. Laura, can you share about your destination weddings? Are you telling them you better book early because these deals might not be there soon?
I am. And so mainly I do sell destination weddings. I actually have 3. One was a rebook from June. Which is now in November. I have another one in November this year in December, and they're quite big. The one in December is going to end up probably being about 50 rooms. And nobody's like, everybody's worried about like canceling, and, you know, I'm like, get insurance. You have no options. Just get the insurance. And then I have another one for next April that's 50 rooms in Mexico. So, you know, I'm just telling everybody, get it on the books, because I'm already having a problem finding inventory for that one in mid-April. I mean, it was just crazy. So I think all the pent-up demand is going to be a problem, you know, having to rebook. The one I'm doing in April, she was going to get married in Texas. And she's like, nope, we're not doing it. We're changing to Mexico. We're tired of dealing with all this. So, you know, everybody's just changing around. So I think just getting it done early is the key.
Well, I think that's the booking dance, right? We're just going to do the booking dance.
Absolutely.
Good for
and
you.
It's
That's
Lori.
great.
It's Lori.
I'm
I know
sorry,
it's spelled
Lori.
funny, but it's Lori. I know. My
sorry.
dad did the French spelling of Lori.
As soon as I said it, I thought, that's probably not right. So I
I'm the
apologize.
other Lori.
I'm actually pate. It's spelled Pat, but it's very French. All right, Lisa, what do you have to say about Caribbean and Mexico? Is the power of the pocketbook pushing people over the edge?
It always does, right? Yeah, absolutely. If we do get folks who are looking for something in the States, they usually mention Florida first. But it's really pretty easy to sway them over to the Caribbean or Mexico, particularly Mexico. And because so many of our colleagues just got back, it's wonderful to be able to say, you know what, I know firsthand that it's doable. It's something that, you know, they came back, they loved it, everything was great. They were able to enjoy the resort. It might have been 30 to 40% full, so you had the room to move around, feeling safe. So I have a couple of groups coming up in February, and I have to say I'm nervous. I don't, you know, I think I'm probably in the same spot as all of you, where hopefully optimistic, but you know, we're not really sure what the future will bring. And also, as Dale mentioned, my husband can't leave the country. If he does, he has to quarantine for 2 weeks. So he's my traveling buddy. So I'm probably not going anywhere for a while either.
Yeah. Well, thanks for contributing. We appreciate
Yeah,
it. Danielle,
yeah,
you have a
absolutely.
question for the group about entry requirements and such. What do you have to say?
I do. I just wanted to ask the group on how they are sourcing or keeping organized all of the different entry requirements and updates. Is there a place where you are sourcing this information that's aggregated somewhere, or are you just looking for it as needed? And if there's not a place, is it something that you would find valuable to have organized at your fingertips?
I have been utilizing, I just interviewed her, Kelly Fontenelle. She's running a Facebook group, travel agents specializing in the Caribbean, and she's doing a fantastic job updating that. And then, you know, Lori, she's doing a fantastic job. And but I don't know that there's one good place, in my opinion. I'm grabbing it from multiple places every day just to stay on top of it. But that's just me.
Well, what are the things that we're doing? Tom, can you talk about how we're organizing COVID information and travel news inside the hub with our topics?
Sure. Yes. So, you know, so as we go, one of the really huge valuable features, and we talked about efficiency earlier, but one of the things that we're really going to bring a lot of resource and helpful information to our hub members is called the Manifest. And the Manifest is a repository of travel deals, events, travel incentives, supplier and agent contact information, all in one place, as we talked about earlier on the hub. And then in addition to that, we have on the hub a really very robust method by which to create topics. And those topics are easily populated by us as the, you know, sort of the managers of the hub, or by our users, you know, to bring all that information together into one place so that our hub members can go to that topic and very quickly see the latest and greatest, again, all in one place. And, you know, and I agree, there's people that are doing a great job on Facebook groups. And one of our goals is to bring that information together. I mean, same on Lori Gold on the Riviera Maya resort group. She's doing a great job of developing supplier contact information. You know, something as simple as that in one place where it's like, hey, what's this wedding coordinator's email address, or what's the director of sales phone number, or how to get a hold of a GM. You know, look at the amount of time we all spend searching for that stuff, you know, on various resort websites, or, you know, through a stack of business cards on our desk, or maybe our CRM if we're lucky. But on the hub, you are going to find that information all in one place. And Danielle brings up a really good point. You know, this is the kind of information that people need. You know, it has to be accurate, it has to be vetted, and you have to be able to rely upon it, because it does change sometimes on a day-to-day basis. So as we go forward, that's super important, and we're going to bring that to you on the hub.
And that's the spirit of what we're doing. Collate all the information, make it easy to search, and ideally those GMs and those suppliers will end up being hub members so you can chat with them directly. Tom mentioned the Manifest. We have our technology team working on the Manifest right now, and it's going to be great when it's done. It's going to have all the information in one place. There's something else, a couple of more things that we have to hit here before we sign off, even though we're over time. But we're over time because the conversation was fantastic. So this is what we want this show to be. Come in, talk with one another, exchange information. So thank you so much. And the booking dance for Lori, of course. Omar from Morocco. Tom, can you tell us that story? Because this is a cool story about the hub.
Okay. So the vision for the hub is that this is a worldwide platform. You know, one of the goals we have is we want to bring the entire travel industry together all under one roof. And when we say the entire travel industry, we're not kidding. So that means everyone is welcome, everyone from really anywhere in the world. And our friend Lisa Pease had a contact and a friend that she invited to join the hub. And it's such a perfect demonstration of what the hub is about. So I was actually going to ask Lisa if she could just talk about Omar for a second, because Omar is, he's not on the call today, probably because he's in a completely different time zone and he's probably sleeping. But it really is a demonstration of what the hub is about. And as we go forward, just imagine a scenario where, you know, we have Omar and we have people from Europe, or we have people from Iceland or New Zealand or Australia. Really, it's unlimited, and all of us working together under one roof and connected in a very compelling and a very effective way. So Lisa Pease, let's talk about Omar for a second.
Oh, sure.
Because he's my star of the hub this week.
So we took a trip to Morocco last year, and actually our team was going to be taking one this fall, which unfortunately had to be canceled, but we'll get there. Omar will be on the call on Thursday. He's a wonderful man. He was our private tour guide when we were there, and we connected. And we got to be good friends and stayed in touch. And you know what? That's why we're in the business, connections and relationships. So I reached out and I asked him if he'd be interested in joining this group, and he practically jumped through Messenger and said, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to. I want to connect with these people. I'd love to show them my business. I'd love to show them my country. He's such a proud man, and I know he's really excited to be able to bring you the love that he has for his country, and that'll show through when you meet him.
Well, thanks for doing that, Lisa. We appreciate it. I had the chance to message with him this morning, and he was so excited just to message back and forth, and he reiterated what you were saying. He's excited to meet everybody and contribute. So fantastic. And imagine you're in a situation where someone's thinking about Morocco. You hop on, you can instant message with an agent that's right there. It's a wonderful opportunity. So thank you for that, Lisa. We appreciate it. So we got to land this plane today because we're a little bit over time, but here's what we have coming up. The manifest is under construction. We're hoping to get that up very, very soon. We're launching our weekly talk show, the Travel Think Tank. That's Thursday afternoon, 3:30 Central, where we're going to talk primarily this week about how to hub. How do we use the software? How do we get the most out of connections? How do we send messages back and forth? Because the more we get to use the software and understand how powerful it is, the better and more closely connected we can all be. Then on Friday, we're releasing another postcard on location. Maybe you haven't seen this yet, but it's a 20 to 30 minute interview with a supplier or a destination, and sometimes a HUBSTAR together, showing off a resort and answering your questions about one of the destinations. So Daniel Shaman and HUBSTAR Tom Varghese will be on site at the Fives in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. So we'll release that Friday morning so you can get a chance to take a little trip and learn more about that location. But that's it for the Hub Morning Show for August 11th. Fun, fast, to check in, good conversation. A big thank you to Lori Gold for checking in from Mexico, and to Tom for contributing, for all of you.
Sorry for my technical difficulties.
No, that's okay. We figured, you were putting sunscreen on already. You were done with us or something.
These are the problems with living in the Caribbean, Wi-Fi and things like that. They work most of the time, but sometimes we have issues.
Well, we will be back next Tuesday at 11:30 Central, so we look forward to seeing you then. And until then, thanks for coming to the Hub. We'll see you again soon.
Hey, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.